Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Sake. Um, let's get started. We had a very interesting week and a half, basically, leading up to the end of the NBA trading deadline. And there was a bunch of big trades and even small trades that were interesting that went down. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and go over my analysis for each of those trades. So let's start off with the big one, and then that's 76ers. So Philly gets James Harden and Paul Millsap, and Brooklyn gets Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and two first-round picks. So a lot of people have mixed opinions on who won this trade. Um, for me, I'm going to say, what's your criteria for that? Because if you're talking about this year, neither team won the trade, in my opinion. But for future years, okay, yeah, then you can say at least one of them has won the trade. Um, but the reason why neither of them went for this year is because Ben Simmons, he needs reports that say he's going to take a while to kind of get back, and it's not necessarily to get in play shape, but like get mentally right and all that. So we're not sure he's going to be back, or even if he might be back for the season. Second, Kyrie Irving has just a few more games left as a part-time player for the regular season. Since he got a lot more home games coming up, so he's not going to be playing. And then Katie's hurt. And with the way you are now, you might not even make the play-in tournament. I mean, I still have them making the play-in tournament, but you might not even get there right now because of the losing streak and all that. So for the Nets, this is definitely not for this year, and I hope they're not thinking that's for this year. It's clearly for next year. Um, and for Philly, while James Harden and Embiid sounds like a good duo and all that, whenever a star player goes to another team with another star player and a new system, all that, it takes a while to get used to playing with Embiid. It takes a while to get used to Doc Rivers' systems, who he's never been a part of that system before. It's not going to happen in an instant with the playoffs. Basically 2 months away. I doubt he's going to be able to figure it out by then. So, so for me, it's especially. Um, I feel like they're not going to get top four seed, probably definitely not top three seed at this point. I just feel like they may win the first round, but other than that, like this is not going to be their year per se. I feel like next year with a full off season under the belt, to develop that chemistry together and learn more of the system and all that, then you can have something there. Um, Now, as far as do I have to trade for both teams? Brooklyn, I do like them getting Andre Drummond because they definitely needed a presence at the rim. And while he's not the best defender at the rim, at least he'll give you some points, but then he'll definitely give you some rebounds and just like know that someone's there. Because Lamar Aldridge with his old self, he's more of a shooter than a player near the rim. Blake Griffin, too old. Claxton, not working. So Andre Drummond was a good get there. And obviously, getting another shooter, Seth Curry to go with Ben Simmons. So Ben Simmons could pass off to Curry for a three, or KD for a three, or Joe Harris when he comes back from injury for a three. It's like, that's pretty good there. Or Patty Mills for a three. Now, besides Ben Simmons, they're still going to be a bad defensive team. They still don't have any good defenders besides Ben Simmons. So that's why I don't feel like they're going to be my favorites to win the championship. And whether it's during free agency or during the next trade deadline, but if I'm then just knocking out free agency while I can, um, I would get some wing defenders if I were them. Okay, now the next biggest trade was the Mavs and Wizards. So um, Washington gets Kristaps Porzingis in the second round pick, and Dallas gets Spencer Dinwiddie and David Bertans. So this is an interesting trade here. So a lot of people actually like this trade for Washington. And for Washington, I mean, yeah, you get a all-star caliber type of player in Porzingis when he's healthy, but the problem is, when is he healthy? So for Washington, you're like, okay, we want to be relevant, especially with A, Bradley Beal out for the rest of the year, and then B, the fact that we want to try to re-sign him, and maybe this move will convince him, to stay around and sign that contract. So I can understand from that perspective, but if you're Washington, you're seriously banking on him staying healthy, which is easier said than done. Um, and then on the Mavs side, they're like, what did like you couldn't get more than Dinwiddie and Bertans for Porzingis? What? It's like, well, Dinwiddie and Bertans point wise combines to be near, if not a little bit more than Porzingis. So you're covered there, and then you're going to get more assists from Dinwiddie than you are with Porzingis. Um, so therefore, that's all good and dandy. And plus, the biggest thing is you get another shot creator and takes the pressure off of Luka because Porzingis is not a shot creator. He has to get open basically. So that's why I feel like for the Mavs it's fine. And now the one thing that worries me, especially me as a Mavs fan, is that David Powell, Maxi Kleber, Boban, like that's not a good forward group there. um, so during this free agency, if I were them, I go after Miles Turner, for example, or something like that. You need to get better at that position. Next is the Kings, Pistons, Bucks, Clippers 14 trade there. So Sacramento got Dante DiVincenzo, Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson. Um, Detroit got Marvin Bagley. Milwaukee got Serge Ibaka, and the Clippers got Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye. So I like this for the Clippers. They get more veteran. They get a veteran, player in Rodney Hood. He's a good 3-point shooter and all that. And then Semi Ojeleye is a good, guy. He could be part of the rotation. Play small ball lineup if you will. Um, so now the Clippers are, in my opinion, the deepest team in the league now. So again, not this year, but for next year. So when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George come back next year, then they're probably gonna be one of the not the favorites. Milwaukee, I like Serge Ibaka because you don't know how long Brook Lopez is going to be out for. You released DeMarcus Cousins, don't get why, but apparently you didn't care for him. Greg Monroe's not a good backup center, so you needed a presence there, and Serge Ibaka can give you that. Detroit, Marvin Bagley, sure, why not? Maybe the change of scenery will work for Marvin Bagley. And the Kings, it's like you get some good role players there, but you know that's more of a okay. We'll just kind of hope that the addition to Montes Sabonis, which I'll talk about later, and surrounding him by good role players will be enough, which I don't think it will. We'll see. Next is the Pelicans Blazers. So New Orleans gets CJ McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., Tony Snell. Portland gets Josh Hart, Didi Luzada, first round pick, and 2 second round picks. Now they had other players as well, but they already got shipped already. But basically Josh Hart, first round pick and second round pick. So Portland's clearly not loading here. An end of the era with CJ McCollum today, which I'm fine with. I don't like that CJ McCollum got traded to New Orleans because I personally wanted to see him get traded to contender, but oh well. Now, if you're the Pelicans, this is great because you want to entice Zion Williamson to stay here. So getting him an all-star like CJ McCollum will do just that. So with him, Williamson, and Brent Ingram, that's not a bad big 3 there at all. Um, now it's not now the Pelicans basically they're not going to be championship contenders by any means, but now basically the Pelicans and Blazers are switching spots. The Blazers will suck for a while, and the Pelicans will not be like the Blazers where they could potentially make the playoffs, but probably be first round, maybe second round exits every year. Cavs versus Pacers. So Cleveland gets Karis LeVert, and Indiana gets Ricky Rubio, who's on expiring contract, be free agent, and obviously he's out for the year with torn ACL. A first round pick and 2 second round picks. That's more just getting picks there. I like this move for Cleveland because they need another scorer, especially Colin Sexton out to help out with Darius Garland, and they do just that. Now again, in the playoffs, I'm skeptical because experience matters in the playoffs. Believes this makes Cleveland definitely more relevant and interesting going forward. Kings versus the Pacers. So Sacramento gets DeMontis Sabonis, Justin Holiday, who apparently is not vaxxed and won't get vaxxed, so he'll be missing the home games there, like Kyrie is for the Nets. Jeremy Lamb and a second round pick, and then Indiana gets Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Well, apparently, a lot of the GMs thought, "What? How did Indiana get Tyrese Halliburton? That is a steal for them." Um, and Tyrese Halliburton wanted to be in Sacramento. He was surprised, so I think it's good for Indiana. Now, Indiana's not going to do anything this year, but I feel like next year, if they can add some more role players in the bench and just get better defensively in general, get some wing guys, then they're gonna be a threat in the East next year. I think it's a good trade for them. In Sacramento, it's like Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson, DeMontis Sabonis, and Jeremy Lamb can replace that basically. So I feel like you're just kind of the same there, except you're better at the forward position. Um, Blazers and Clippers. So this was back, a little over a week ago. So Portland gets Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, rookie, and a second-round pick. And the Clippers get Norman Powell and Robert Covington. Now, I love this trade if I'm the Clippers because, again, Norman Powell is a good scorer. Robert Covington is a nice another wing defender, three guy. Especially with Batum getting older, that now is like all that he can kind of replace and fill that role there if you're the Clippers. So again, I love that if you're move the Clippers, and then for Portland, you at least get a veteran Eric Bledsoe, but obviously it's about development of Keon Johnson and getting more picks basically. And then there's other trades that went down that they're not big on paper because those are the kind of bigger trades, but these trades could end up being a big deal. So let's start with the Jazz, Blazers, Spurs, and a three-team trade there. So San Antonio gets Thomas Sirtansky, who's with New Orleans, and then they get a second-round pick. Portland gets Joe Ingles, Elijah Hughes, and a second-round pick. And then Utah gets Juancho Hergomez, and then Nikhil Alexander-Walker from the Pelicans. So for me, I like this move on the Jazz because with Joe Ingles on an expiring contract and him not performing well even before his ACL tear, um, and the fact that Jazz have already given up, first round picks for next year and the year after that, it's just like it was going to be hard for the Jazz to go after, a bigger player like a Jimmy Grant, for example. So getting Nikhil Alexander Walker here is kind of like a high. It's kind of like a high reward, low risk because you didn't give up a lot to get him. Because Nikhil Alexander Walker, from what I've seen, definitely has some promise there. He just needs to get the proper development which Jazz can give him. So it'll be interesting to see if he's a difference maker come postseason time. Next, you got the Suns and Pacers. Phoenix gets Torrey Craig. India gets young forward Jalen Smith and a second round pick there. I love this move if I'm the Suns. Torrey Craig, who's on their team last year for that finals run. You get him back, so you get another wing defender, which now Phoenix has Mikal Bridges. He knows a good wing defender. So their bench now is just good in general. Like after the Clippers bench, the Phoenix might be the second best bench in the league. Like so they're just deep now. So Phoenix gets surprisingly even better at the trade deadline than they already are. Spurs and Celtics. Spurs get Josh Richardson. Celtics get Derek White. I'm not sure how that's an even swap there, in my opinion, but the Celtics, get more scoring guard depth, which they need because the Celtics don't have a deep bench overall. Now the Celtics are on a winning streak and looking better. They're thinking, they want to make a run in the playoffs. Then you got Celtics and Rockets. Boston gets Daniel Tice, who's a part of their Eastern Conference Finals run in the bubble. He's been a good player for them. He'll be their good backup center there. And then Houston gets Dennis Schroeder. They also had against Brandon, but got released and all that. So Houston's clearly just wanting some more guard making ability there with Dennis Schroeder, giving him another chance. And then Spurs and Raptors. San Antonio gets Goran Dragic, but he's going to be released, and then they're just going to get a first round pick and send off Thaddeus Young, who's experienced forward to Toronto. Which Toronto feels like they're probably a playoff contender, which is why they're making this move, giving up a first round pick there for a Thaddeus Young, which is not worth it in my opinion. And Goran Dragic, will be interested to see what team he goes to. Mavs, Clippers, Bucks, and Bulls have all been his favorites so far, so we'll kind of see what happens there. And then when the last battle is Wizards Hornets, Charlotte gets Montrezl Harrell, Washington gets Ish Smith and Ronald Carey. So it's more for Charlotte is obviously a better deal for them because behind Miles Bridges, they need a good backup center. I mean, Mason Plumlee's fine, but he's not that great. Montrezl Harrell, if he can get back to that form he was with the Clippers, it could be a really good backup center for them and be a difference maker for the Wizards. So I mean, for the Hornets, I meant. So I feel like that'll be interesting if that works out there. So that's a recap of all the trades this week. Let me know what you think of the trades. Let me know if you think I'm spot on or not on my analysis there. I'm looking forward to the final 2 months of regular season in NBA and looking forward to the playoffs. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel to learn about me. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.